My best friend is broke. I've been offering him a job in the restaurant that I work in for months, and today he confessed he doesn't want to be a server because it's low and people would lose respect for him. I'm deeply offended. This happened just before. My friend is broke, he hasn't worked in over a year, he's running out of savings, and has even had to ask his parents to support him. I've asked him many times why he doesn't try to get a job that's not in his field. He's got a computer science degree but has never worked in the field a single day in his life since graduating. He's turned down lots of jobs because reasons. They don't pay him enough, they won't give him a higher position right off the bat, etc. I'm well aware that he's deluded in that sense, but he has many other good qualities, and that's why I love the guy. So since graduating, the only job he's done is share marketing, something like online investing in Forex. He said he made about $20 a day and that it was enough for him. He's single, lives in a share house, and doesn't spend much. Whatever makes him happy, right? But the thing is, he's totally broke. I don't think he really is making even $20 a day on the shares because he's run out of money. He's stressed out and won't stop complaining about money problems. This is confusing for me, and I think it comes down to his pride not allowing him to get a job that's not fit for his ego. Now, I work as a server in a very nice restaurant, and I've offered him a job as a server many times before. I have a great relationship with my boss, and after telling him about my friend's situation, he didn't hesitate to say that he wanted to help and would like to offer him a full-time job. My friend has been turning it down for months, not really giving much of an explanation as to why. Today, he called me saying that his parents have cut him off and asked to borrow money from me. I said that as a personal rule, I do not lend money to anyone, but that he was welcome to start working tomorrow with me. He again turned down the offer, and I got a bit frustrated because I offered him a solution to his money problem, but he won't accept it. So we got into a bit of banter, and he finally confessed that he thinks being a server is low and doesn't get you people's respect. I told him respect is earned by getting off your ass and doing whatever you have to do to make ends meet. I asked him if he thinks that I'm low, and he backpedaled, saying he didn't mean that I, in particular, was low, but the job that itself was. He then straight out told me that nobody can respect me working as a waiter in my 30s. Wow. To be honest, I'm pretty upset. He thinks I'm low for working as a server? I got a degree too, but couldn't find a job in my field, so I had to take the first job that I could. I'm not some prissy prick thinking I'm too good to serve others. I take pride in being a waiter and doing a great job. I'm so hurt by his comments. Why is he my friend if he thinks that I'm low? I didn't want to say something nasty or get into an argument with him, so I only told him that he was being very offensive and I felt like he needed time to think about what he said to me. He replied saying there was nothing to think about and then gave me a list of low jobs like street sweeper, cleaner, etc., and said that it's a fact that those are low, not respected jobs. I asked him to apologize before this snowballed into a full-blown argument, and he said he stood by what he said. I don't want to overreact, but I don't know if we can keep being friends after this. I really don't know what to do. I don't want to badmouth him, but he should examine his life and learn empathy. I'm a very easygoing and forgiving person, but what he said hurt me and was idiotic. The man who refuses to work calling me low. I don't know what to do. In the comments, honestly, be happy that he didn't take the job, because with that attitude, he wouldn't have lasted long and tarnished your reputation with it. I don't want to overreact, but I don't know if we can keep being friends after this. Honestly, don't keep him as a friend. Doesn't seem that you get much out of this friendship anyway. Funny, pompous ass is too good to work as a waiter, but isn't above asking to borrow money from a waiter because he's too pathetic to earn a living to take care of himself. It's easy. Take the job off the table because it's not appreciated or respected by him, and it will only end bad for you and your generous boss. Don't lend your friend anything and let him figure out his problems on his own. Simple life lesson coming. He's broke, and yet he's being a choosing beggar. He is biting the hand that he is trying to get to feed him. If you value the friendship enough to continue being friends with him, fair enough. Figure out a way to navigate it if you would like. But for me personally, if someone were to put me down in my face like this after asking me for help and asking me for money, I would be so deeply offended that I wouldn't want to be friends with them anymore. Unless there's a damn good reason to stay friends, I'd distance myself. Slowly but surely. I think you should too, OP. And now, onto the update, the next day. So I made this post yesterday asking for advice on how to handle the situation with my friend. Basically, he's very broke and his parents have cut him off. I've been offering him a job in the restaurant I work in for months, and he's always turned it down. His situation got so bad that he came to me yesterday asking to borrow money. I don't lend money as a rule to anyone, but I told him that there'll always be a plate of food for him in my house, and he was welcome to accept the job offer and start working with me the very next day. Well, long story short, we had a bit of an argument, if you can call it that, and he finally confessed that he thinks that being a server is low and won't earn him people's respect. In an interesting turn of events, he called me today and said that he thought it through and had decided that he's willing to accept the job only with one condition, as if he was the one doing me the favor. That he is to be made manager right off the bat, and that he should move in with me so that I can drive into work, because the bus from his house to my workplace takes 35 minutes, and that is over an hour of commuting a day. He then suggested that I move my youngest daughter into my eldest daughter's room, so that's an empty bedroom for him in my house. So he obviously had given this some thought. I was dumbfounded. The sense of entitlement and the level of pride you gotta have to make those demands is astonishing. I know that he's never had a proper job, but he's not stupid. He has to know that you can't be made manager if you don't even know the names of their dishes or how to serve a coffee. It is all about his pride. He's got an ego bigger than I thought. He can't be humble enough to accept a waiter job and work things out from there. He needs to be made manager so that it won't hurt his pride as much. To be honest, I was so out of words that I said that I don't want to talk and hung up. I can't explain how off-putting that conversation was. I feel repelled by him. I feel disgusted, as if something has changed inside me. I can't have a person like him in my life. What makes a person refuse all help just out of sheer pride? My wife says that I've been patient and kind enough to him throughout the years, and I should let him figure things out on his own. He really is broke. Before his parents cut him off, they were covering his rent and bills, and he survived on the $20 a day that he claimed to be making investing in Forex. I know he barely eats and can't even afford a new pair of shoes, and some other stuff. I know he's got no money, but then why not accept the job? He's not shy, has no mental health issues, has no problem dealing with people. He's refused many other jobs in the past, even jobs relating to his degree, computer science. He's got the wrong idea that he should be given high-up positions right from the start because he is him, and that is what he deserves. That's the reason that he hasn't worked a single day since graduating like a decade ago. Anyway, I've got to do some deep thinking and reevaluate this friendship because I don't like the person that he is becoming. His dad is a bus driver and his mum a retired teacher. They are lovely, humble, down-to-earth people. I think they've done the right thing cutting him off. I know they're both struggling financially, so it's not fair for their son to leech off of them. His mother even had to go back to work doing some tutoring in order to make some extra money to be able to support my friend. I'd be so ashamed if I made my 70-year-old mother go back to work just so that I could be sitting at home dreaming of landing the perfect job while actively doing nothing to get one. Anyway, I'm rambling. Sorry, I'm just so mad. My wife says that it's time to cut the cord and distance ourselves from him. I think she might be right. In the comments, Philosophy says, "That's wild. Dude doesn't have any work experience and thinks a computer science degree with no practical knowledge entitles him to a managerial role. I wonder what he's doing now." Well, the same kind of guy who has a CS degree when those skills were in really high demand and highly compensated and favorable, but still turned down all the job offers in favor of being unemployed. Well, the trouble is, 10 years unemployed after graduating with a CS degree, No one will want him now. Even if he applies for a lowly junior IT job, people would rightly be suspicious of him. Plus, I doubt that he's kept up to date in the field. IT degrees age like milk. To be fair, most people will look unfavorably on people who haven't worked in 10 years, if it's not due to health reasons or taking care of a family member. Hell, here in Germany, if you haven't used your degree in that long, you're basically treated as if you don't even have that degree. Sure, it's better than nothing, but 10 years without having used that degree? Might as well not have gotten it at all. All the best to that one. You know, all the ego, none of the skills to back it up. I'm sure he's gonna go well. OP, your wife is correct in suggesting that you should distance yourself from this man. He does not sound like the brightest kind of guy. You know, I'm not the brightest kind of guy phrasing it like that, but he's worse than that. So yeah, listen to your wife. She is correct right now, and she is always correct. My bad saying right now, she is always correct. Our next post is by user CommunicationOwn884, titled, At the End of My Tether with Adult Child. My son is 23 years old, recently graduated with a mechanical engineering honors degree and no college debt. He doesn't want to do anything. He's got a job in a bike shop for 2 days a week and doesn't work more than that. He just wants to go to the gym and sit on his computer and phone. He has 2 younger siblings who have drive and direction, but he says nothing motivates him. For years, I thought he was depressed, and he has in the past been on antidepressants and had therapy. His last recent bout with a therapist ended after 20+ sessions, and he told me they can't figure out why he is the way he is. Out of desperation, I talked to the therapist, who told me that he didn't think that my son was depressed, but things are hard for young men now, and he needs time. He's been tested for ADHD and is on medication for that, when he can be bothered to collect the prescription. He doesn't believe that he has ADHD, by the way. He has burned his bridges with friends and is burning his bridges with us. He makes his own meals and takes them to his room to eat, despite being told that he has to be a part of the family if he is here. We charge him rent, but made the mistake of telling him that we were saving it for him when he moves out. From this month, I am deducting money for bills and food. He is rude to his siblings, doesn't help out around the house, and doesn't do anything at all to contribute to the family. I want to give my son purpose, and we've tried everything, and I mean everything. I have spent countless hours talking to him, asking him how I can help him. He doesn't know. I've suggested that he take a year off doing volunteer work, or traveling abroad for a year, or working a shitty job until he figures out what comes next. He wanted to move to California, where we used to live, and live in San Francisco until he realized that he couldn't financially. I can't bear the thought of kicking him out, but I see no other option. I feel like we're being held emotional hostages, and the stress of it is unbearable. I am so upset that one of my children is like this. I feel in equal parts responsible and resentful. I'm terrified that if we kick him out at the end of this month, that he will end his life, sleep on the street, or never talk to us again. But I'm at the point where something needs to happen. It is ruining my life, my marriage, and my relationship with my other children. We have given him another deadline of the end of the month, but I'm struggling to make it that far. In the comments, so simple. Without the computer, he has nothing to do, and boredom will motivate him. It has got to go. Not allowed in the house. Give him a week to wind up and notify any gaming friends, then it gets removed, period. You are done. He can have it back if he moves out. OP says, I removed his laptop and phone a week ago. He can no longer use them in the house. We thought he had a gaming addiction. Anything that makes more sense than someone who wants to do nothing, but his behavior since the removal has shown me that he doesn't have a gaming addiction. He has been more present. He watches TV with us in the evening, and he goes to a coffee shop to use his devices, but he's only ever out for 2 hours, and he hasn't applied to any other jobs yet. The commenter replies to OP, it takes time, especially with boys sometimes. I hope he gets inspired. Another commenter says, I'm in the same position, I feel. I did what people told me to do. Admit I need help. I've been unmotivated for years. I sit in my room constantly. I only work 3 days a week, bare minimum. Shit, I didn't even graduate high school. I admitted to my doctor that I needed help. I was constantly feeling terrible about myself. No purpose. In my case, I feel like I've let my family down. I feel like I don't fit in with my family. They tried talking to me about it, and all in all, just victimizing me basically. Just asking me dumb questions like, why am I depressed? I don't know. Part of it is purpose. Nobody needs me. If I disappeared today, sure, people might be sad, but nobody needs me. This might not be what your son's going through, but I thought that it might help to get a perspective from someone in a similar situation as him. But to be honest, he's doing way better than me. I'm 23 as well, living at home. And OP replies, "Hi there, and thank you so much for responding. It is really helpful. You sound very much like my son. I have no idea how to motivate him, and we're down to the wire. Perhaps having to put a roof over his head will be the motivation that he needs, although when we talk to him about that, he says he doesn't care and he will be homeless. It's hard to know if he's serious or being immature. He's never made any real decisions his whole life, and for one reason or another, we made some for him. We shouldn't have. We should have let him fail earlier on, but his dad couldn't do it. Now my son doesn't know how to make decisions and has spent so long alone in his bedroom that he doesn't really know how to operate in the real world. This is why I'm worried about kicking him out. But if we leave things the way they are, he could still be living at home age 30, 40, and he isn't nice to live with, so it's not something that I'm prepared to do." That same commenter says, "Yeah, in my case, I know I'm down shit's creek right now, and it hasn't gotten better for a couple years now. There's so many things that I want to do to improve, but honestly I don't know where to start or what to do. So I just end up doing nothing. Going to the gym was one thing that I started doing recently to try and give myself some drive, something I have to go do and keep doing. If he's at least gymming consistently, maybe he's trying to find something no matter how little, to try and be responsible doing. To decide to do something and stick with it offers some gratification, but I have a hard time sticking with anything lately. I spent most of my time as a child alone. So now, being alone is the only time I feel safe. It's the only time that I can guarantee my environment. Like I said, this might be entirely different from your son, but these have been my steps to try and improve myself first. If my family kicked me out now, I would feel even more rejected. Just trying to figure out where I should start, honestly. Hope maybe some of this is similar to him." OP replies, "Is it that the tasks, like making friends, getting a job, moving out, seem too big? I think this is a part of the problem for my son. My son goes to the gym 6 times a week. He gets up at 5:30 each morning to be at the gym by 6, and he works out for 90 minutes each day. Then he comes home and makes his vegan breakfast, then he showers for an hour, then he has a snooze, then, on a good day, he might go to a coffee shop for 2 hours, but that's only because I won't let him use his devices at home anymore. This is my attempt to get him out into the real world. Then he'll come home and rest. Then he'll maybe watch TV or be alone in his room, and well, you get the picture. Most people behave this way on their vacation days, not 5 days a week. He works 2 days in a store and he really enjoys it, but they have no more hours for him, and he won't or can't be bothered to get a job elsewhere. Stick with the gym. Maybe you could try heading to a coffee shop too, but take your damn headphones off. You're shutting the world out." This is quite a hard one, and for me, it's another one of those situations where you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped, and they're only going to change if they want to change. And as we can see from these two people, sometimes that's not even enough. Even wanting to change and actively saying that and being like, I don't want to be like this anymore. I want purpose. I want drive. Sometimes that's not enough, and that is incredibly frustrating. My headcanon theories in the past have been, well, structure will help a lot. Go to the military or go into the army or something for a bit. Do reserves. You'll get structure. You'll get social spaces. You'll get, achievements and all of this. You will feel passion for life in some way or another. But at the same time, The military is not for everyone, and a lot of people that have had bad experiences there will be like, that is the worst advice you can give someone. Don't throw them into that hellscape if they're not ready and they don't know what they're doing. And to that I say, okay. Because what helped me out when I was in a rut like this was motivational speakers like Gary Vaynerchuk. He was genuinely the top dog of the 2017-2018 era where I found myself down and out. I was working just Uber Eats non-stop, and I was listening to podcasts of Gary Vaynerchuk, and that got me out of my rut. It took like 2 to 3 years to find purpose in my life. I went through the same thing as these people did. But I wouldn't advise people to start listening to Andrew Tate and a bunch of motivational quote-unquote speakers that we have today, because I don't think they're gonna be motivated in a productive way. I don't have the answer for this one, and I feel terribly for those that are in a similar situation to this. I think I lucked out and found the things that worked for me in this instance. I just hope that others are able to do the same thing. And now, onto the update on the same thread. OP here. I thought I'd provide an update. I really stuck to my guns over the laptop and phone usage, and after a week or so of sulking, or adjusting, still not sure, my son decided to go on antidepressants. At the same time, he started to experience more of the world by just hanging around us more. My husband made him go to the office with him every single day to look for a job. My son did the bare minimum, but eventually my husband found him a job that looked interesting, and he applied and got the job. It's just a job, not a career path, but it's changed our worlds. My son now works full-time and has kept his old weekend job. He now works about 10 days in a row, then gets a day off, and by choice, with his first paycheck last month, he bought some new clothes, the first in several years, and some accessories for his bike. He's now planning on what to do with his next paycheck. He is also making friends at his new job and goes biking with the guys after work. He's found his passion for biking again. I cannot stress enough the utter relief that we feel. I can now sleep at night, and I no longer worry about him. Sure, he needs to figure out a longer-term plan, but for now we can sit back and watch him discover the world again, and that it's actually quite a nice place. And this is OP's comment on another post that was titled, How to Get My Child Moving in Life. Parent of a child in a similar situation until I took action. My husband took the same stance as you, that nothing much could be done. We disagreed to the point of real marital stress. I had an epiphany and waited until he left for a business trip and then tackled the problem. My house, my rules. I removed my son's computer, phone, and all other devices and stored them off-site. 23-year-old threw a fit and stayed in bed for 3 days and didn't move. I checked on him to make sure he was alive, took him coffee and food, talked calmly. After 3 days, he got out of bed, sulked, and went back to bed again. This time, I did nothing. No food, no water, no conversation. He stayed in bed in a dark room and wallowed. I, of course, was worried and checked for movement, but no more than that. After a few more days, he got out of bed and said that he didn't want to live like this anymore, agreed he needed a change, agreed that he needed antidepressants, and started hanging out with the family. I gave him his phone only when he left the house. Want access to the internet? Go and get it. I will not provide it. That was in January of this year. By March, he was several weeks into antidepressants, he was regaining a relationship with his siblings, he was no longer as angry, and he had a job. Full disclosure, my husband found the job, applied for the job for our son, but my son got the job. He's been working ever since, has made friends, and goes cycling. Our lives have all changed because of it. You can do more. You can give her purpose. Stop facilitating her lifestyle, take away her internet access. It could be the motivation that she needs. Good luck. I know it's hard. And now to the latest update. OP here again. I want to provide an update for any parents in the same boat who stumble upon this thread. It's been a year since my original post, and our lives have changed unrecognizably for the better. After my son started work, his confidence grew and his self-esteem improved. He had purpose. Over the last year, we kept revisiting the move, and sometimes things got heated, but we stuck to our guns until we gave him a hard deadline. The deadline came and we made him leave the house. It was so hard. We didn't sleep for 2 days, and my husband caved and asked him to come back. The shock of us making a move into a hotel had the desired effect. It took several more months and lots of reminding, but he eventually found a place of his own and moved out last month into his own place. He is now living independently just a few minutes from his work and is loving it. He enjoys earning money and paying his own way. He has experienced buying a washing machine, learned how to plumb it in, and understands that sometimes you have to take a day off work to accept deliveries. He's learning that no one's going to unpack the boxes but himself, and that if he wants food, he has to go and buy it, even if he's tired. We offer our help and have of course helped a lot, but we haven't picked up any pieces. This is all on him. And best of all, our relationship is getting back on track. He comes over every Sunday for dinner, hangs out, and catches us up with his news. He is feeling so good about himself and loves standing on his own 2 feet. In the comments, the final hex says, "Turns out many people are weirdly happier and have more purpose when working even a crap job versus no job at all. I dream about playing video games most of my working shift, and I resent having to spend the best part of my life slaving away at my desk. But if I'm unemployed and just fucking around, those video games don't really keep me entertained. It's just something to do to pass the monotony of doing nothing important. But I treasure my time playing when it's after work and my wife and I are just playing side by side. I think this sort of hopeless, unliving existence is on the rise, at least in the US and Western countries. Lots of young people just don't have lives to start. Our economy is fucked, there's no reason to believe that hard work will ever pay off in the way that we were promised, and pure distraction is pushed at us from every screen. And there's a lot of screens around. It's also definitely a privileged affliction. People who don't have parents who can subsidize their non-existence obviously have to work enough to pay for their essentials, even if they're still depressed or purposeless. I think it also stems from the disparity between how middle-class kids expect adulthood to look and what living in our society is actually like. If you expected to get your degree, immediately get a solid job, and begin pursuing a spouse and family, hitting the real world today must feel like crashing into a brick wall at speed. I have family and friends stuck in this same sort of hole, and it's terrifying to see someone you love trapped in what seems like a type of suicidality. They don't feel like there's any point in living, but they're not miserable enough to actually take action to harm themselves, so they live in a constant feckless fog, trying to distract themselves out of the pain. My takeaway from this situation is that if anyone needs me, it is me. I need myself the most, and maybe I should take antidepressants. If it was that good for him, it's gotta be good for me, guys. 4 episodes a day when I hit the antidepressants. It's gonna go crazy. But this is a very good outcome, and I'm glad that OP is using this to push the message of don't give up hope. I've done it, you can do it too. That's amazing to see. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.